Man, a tank ran all up and through the bank the other day, and Tank Bigsby is going to keep performing that way. We'll talk about that and more here on Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for joining me, Tony Wiggins, the host of the Locked On Jaguars podcast, where it's your team every day, and we thank you for making us your first listen. A quick reminder, we can be found on our YouTube page at Locked On Jaguars, and wherever you listen or hear your podcast, please make sure you check that out every single day so you do not miss an episode. Today's show is sponsored and brought to you by Prize Picks. That's right. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code, all lowercase, LockedOnNFL, to win $50 instantly when you play $5. Shout out to all of the everydayers for joining us here every single day on Locked On Jaguars. And here's what we're going to go over today on Locked On Jaguars. Cool seat. That's right. Doug Pederson had been in the hot seat. That seat got a little bit cooler. We'll discuss that at the end of the show. Right smack in the middle. Jags got to keep it up. This thing looks like it could turn around at any minute and go back in a positive direction, but it could also go back to a negative direction really, really fast if they aren't careful. But we're going to start talking about an emerging talent in Jacksonville, and that is Tank Bigsby. That's right. Tank. I recall in the preseason, someone was talking about Tank Bigsby and his improvement. He didn't care. He said, no, I don't care what people say about me. Basically, I'm going to paraphrase what he said. I don't care what people say about me because last year they were talking about me being a bust. And I appreciated that. And I liked it. And you know why I liked it? Because he is exactly right. And I don't have anything to backtrack from here. I have been critical of Jaguars GM Trent Baalke way more than anybody else, or at least as much as anyone else. However, I never, ever, ever was one of those people that said that Tank Bigsby was not worth that third-round pick. Nope. I talk crap about Britton Strange all day, but no one can tell you that they ever heard me say, because I was a big Tank Bigsby fan. I'm also a big fan of his running style. I never said that the Jaguars made a mistake by taking Tank Bigsby at all. Check the record. You won't find it. You can go run back through all my tweets. You can go back through all of my videos. I never, ever said that because I never felt that way. When a lot of other people did feel that way. I never felt that way about him. I like Tank Bigsby coming out of Auburn as a prospect. And I'll give you a little bit of background. I follow high school recruiting extremely close. And I liked Tank Bigsby when he came out of Georgia, the state of Georgia, to go to Auburn as a football player. I really did. And I'm a Florida State guy, and I kind of wish they'd had a guy like that when he came out of high school. They ended up getting Trey Benson, who is sort of the same type of player. So my affinity for Tank Bigsby goes all the way back to that. I just couldn't figure out for the life of me why the confident dude that I saw in high school and at Auburn, some reason, things just didn't quite hit last year. And the criticism of Tank was, I think, compounded by a lot of people with Trent Baalke and their disdain for him whenever, and that disdain is situational because now everybody loves him again because all of his picks played well against the Colts. But the disdain that people have had for him, I think, was a byproduct, or the hatred for, not really the hatred, but the dislike of the Tank pick. Part of that was a byproduct of that. And then part of it was because most people expect running backs when they come into the National Football League to adjust really, really fast. There's been this cliche for over 30 years that it's the easiest position for a high school player to adapt to college and for a college player to adapt to the pros. And then people say stuff like this: all they're doing is running the ball. They don't talk about pass protection. They don't talk about finding a hot edge rusher. They don't find about timing on screens and how to cut back and whether or not you're playing a power scheme or a zone blocking scheme or man blocking scheme. They don't talk about stuff like that. But I personally liked Tank Bigsby as a football player. I did. and I still do. But I was just like everybody else last year. I could not figure out, man, what is going on with his confidence? Why does it seem like everything that he does ends up being a catastrophe, even trying to catch the ball, tip balls? It seems like the ball touched his hands, it was about to be a negative play attached to it. So for me, it was more, I just could not figure out for the life of me why that young man wasn't doing the things that I thought that he was capable of doing. I still don't know, but I'll take a wild guess and say that a part of it was him pressing. You finally live your dreams. Everything that you do is on, it's all about power. They call him Tank for a reason. You're running people over, but you're just trying to prove yourself. You're trying to prove that you can catch. You're trying to prove that you can block. You're trying to prove that you can, sometimes wanting it too bad, not really too bad, but wanting it so bad and wanting to be successful can get in your way a little bit. And maybe that's what happened with him. I don't know, but he came back looking quicker. He was always in shape, but somehow he is going to go from a guy that people thought, and he has to at some point accept this and understand that this is the business and this is just what happens. He's going to go from a guy who was, oh, why did they pick him? Right? Well, they call him a pick me, right? Why did they pick him? He's going to go from that to fan favorite. And it's not just because his name. There's a little something that says, they play in Everbank, Tank at the bank. I like that. Tank running through the bank. I like that. But it's not because of his name, but it's because of the reason he has that name. And the reason, I don't know the reason. They might have called him Tank when he was little and he was running over the furniture in the house, but it fits him from a football perspective. And it also fits him from something that the people resonate with. And what that is being a tough guy, being a guy that overcomes adversity, being someone that puts the noise aside and just keeps your head down and then just goes on about your business and ends up becoming extremely successful at it. That really embodies Duval County more than anything, because people are always talking about Jaguar fans. People are always putting Duval fans down, but they won't say it to their face because Duval fans are Duval tough. And one of the things and one of the themes that I've always had on this show is the Jags have to figure out a way to play identity football. That the players and the type of play on the field at some point should mirror. It doesn't have to mirror the fans as much as anything, as it does have to be consistent enough that the fans, that it resonates with them because they know what to expect every week. And then they could turn that into a sort of Duval way of playing football. And Tank is exactly what people need here. Something that they could hold on to. He's going to give it everything he's got. He's going north to south. He's going to break tackles. And now, because of what he went through his rookie year and has now transformed into, you realize that he is mentally tough. Not only is he a tough football player, but he's mentally tough, even to the point where he told a whole bunch of people in an indirect way in training camp, yeah, you hated on me then, keep on hating on me. I ain't worried about what you got to say. And I'm really, really glad that he's a player that didn't hear the noise. He didn't hear the applause. He didn't hear the criticism. And now he's not going to overly pay attention to the applause. The old saying is, if you live for the applause, you'll die from the criticism. Well, his happened the other way. He didn't die from the criticism, and he's not going to be affected by the applause. Tank is just going to go out and do what Tank does, and I'm proud of him. I'm sure his family is proud of him, and he needs to be proud of himself. The Jaguars really, really do have a real good player in Tank Bigsby. And that's my roundabout way of giving Trent Baalke even more credit when it comes to, I said when he got drafted, he kind of reminded me of another guy Baalke knows very well, and Frank Gore. That's exactly who he reminds me of. What do they say? He's giving Frank Gore. Now, I'm not saying he's Frank Gore, but because Frank Gore is like third all-time leading rusher. But what I'm saying is there's an element that he plays with that the Jaguars need, because they've been accused of not being a physical team. Don't tell that to Tank, because not only is his name representative of something physical, his play is as well. We appreciate him. We want to give him his flowers today and thank him for his perseverance. And I'll tell you right now, the Jaguars don't win that game against the Colts the other day without him. And that's what they need. They need people that are the reason why they win instead of just people who are not the reasons why they win or not the reasons why they lost. All right, we're going to talk about more here on Locked On Jaguars about why they got to keep it up, because they're not necessarily on a high right now, but where they are as a team is a little bit of a safer place than they were last week when everybody wanted everybody fired, including myself. We'll talk about that more here on Locked On Jaguars. It's time to talk about Prize Picks, man. That's right. Prize Picks is the absolute truth. And y'all know it because you get a chance to have even more fun while you're watching game every single day and possibly even win you some Skrilla. You know how you do that? You pick between 2 and 6 player projections against just Prize Picks, not the over $5 million or 5 million users they have that makes them the best daily fantasy sports outfit out there. No, it's just you and them. If they say that Justin Jefferson is going to only catch 83.5 yards, all you got to do is say more or less. Do that twice between 2 and 6 times and get them all right. And guess what? That money starts rolling in. With as little as 4 correct projections, you can win about 100 times your money in some situations. So all you got to do, man, is go download the Prize Picks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNFL. And guess what? With all that fun I described, you're going to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Notice I said after you play, not after you win. After you play your first $5 lineup, if you use the code LOCKEDONNFL, all one word, lowercase, and I'll spell it for you, LOCKEDONNFL, you'll get $50 instantly in bonuses after you play your first $5. So go check out Prize Picks, man, at prizepicks.com. All right, segment number 2, or we're here. We're still here, Locked On Jaguars, right? Yeah, we're talking about the Jaguars, talked about Tank Bigsby in the first segment. He's going to be instrumental in whether the Jaguars can really keep up what they had going on this past Sunday. Now, I want to say something. They won 37-34. The game was tied at 34, and it probably shouldn't have been. So we have to be very careful. We have to temper all of our excitement and temper all of our enthusiasm and really, really, really make sure that we put things in their proper perspective. I'm going to look at it from a glass half full type of way and just flat out tell you that they also lost some very close games this year. The fact that they found a way to win, and I don't care who they played against, because the Jaguars, like, they didn't have Jonathan Taylor. Okay, the Jags didn't have Tyson Campbell. The Jags were banged up in their secondary, right? And they gave up a lot. They didn't have Evan Ingram. The Jaguars were missing a couple of key cogs from their attack as well that they're going to get back. Tyson Campbell started his 21-day window to return today, according to the team. We got that from Jaguars PR. They anticipate that Dewey Wingard is at some point going to start to turn the corner. And remember, after 6 games, they still have Tayshaun Gibson, who they signed and was in training camp late to come in as a veteran presence. So this can improve. The part of their team that is the part that most people are most worried about right now can actually improve. And you see that there's tangible improvement coming. There's Tyson Campbell, there's Dewey Wingard. Y'all ever thought we talk about Dewey Wingard like that? And then there's a blast from the past from Jacksonville and Tayshaun Gibson, another veteran. Because it seems like a lot of these big plays are guys having to decide what their responsibilities are. It's not a lack of effort. It's just like they're making the wrong decision in some case. And I think that's why you saw Ryan Nielsen on his knee the other day, because you can tell when a coach you can almost tell when he's like, damn it, we told him not to do that. and the guys were trying to make plays, and they all like more than one person sucked in on the underneath guy, and then here this dude come running right behind him, and it's like, dang it, we tried. So that might have happened on multiple occasions too. I haven't watched the film and watched the tape to that extent, but it could have very well have been a situation where that had happened before, but the Jaguars got away with it because the pass rush got there earlier. And I'm sure that the coaches, if that happened, the coaches were like, look, you got away with it then because, we knocked the quarterback off his square. But if you do that and they happen to get protection, that guy's going to be open and you can't do that. And you can just see when Ryan Nielsen went down the other day on that big play to Alec Pierce, the big touchdown, you could just tell this wasn't about the players not being good enough. This wasn't about him making a bad play call, and everybody got all over him about it. This appeared to me to be like you looking at your kid like, I done told that boy to do that before. I told her this was going to happen. And it looked like a dad really who it's like you saw it happen and you saw it coming and you told them not to do it and they made the wrong decision. So it's something that they still have to coach them up on. But also, you're going to get an opportunity here for veterans to come back. And those are the guys that you don't have to tell things over and over. And I'm not pinpointing Antonio Johnson, but I'm kind of pinpointing Antonio Johnson a little bit. And he's a second-year player, and he's got to figure that out. I think his natural instinct is to go come downhill and tackle people because that's pretty much what he did in his college career. This ain't college anymore. So now we have to make adjustments. Some of those things are going to improve. The question is are they good enough for the next 2 weeks? I'm not concerned about the Patriots in a couple of weeks with a rookie quarterback, unless the Jaguars just fall asleep at the wheel. I am a little bit concerned this week about Caleb and the Bears in this game in London, the first game. And the reason why I'm a little bit afraid about that, because he does have weapons. He does have one guy, DJ Moore, and if he decides he's going to go to DJ Moore 15 times, the Jaguars are going to have to figure that out. They have started to figure out the run game, and they do have a pretty decent offensive line. And they also do a very good job of stopping the run when they're on defense. I think this is a critical game, but I think it's one the Jaguars can and should win. And that's because one thing about Ryan Nielsen's system is the quarterback make quick decisions. I'm not saying that kid can't make quick decisions or he can't process information, but he is a rookie. And if you want guys to make fast decisions and fast choices, you rather that be a rookie than these old veteran guys like Joe Flacco, right? That Joe Flacco will roll out of bed, take some Geritol and come out there and throw for 300 yards if you're trying to play mind games with him because he's a veteran quarterback. Take advantage of the fact that this young man is still young and is still in his infancy and still has that bravery aspect to him, to his game. Like most of those young players, especially the super talented young guys, they believe in themselves and they believe in their talent so much. It gets to the point where, okay, so I can do this, so I can get away with that. Now, it looks like some of that has been taken out of his game a little bit, but it's critical that the Jaguars don't fall asleep at the wheel here, because all of that goodwill that they had, or they still have, it's not as if everyone is totally sold at 1-4 that, okay, we're back. But there are a lot of people that are sitting there hoping that what this is something that they've seen in the past. They've seen the Jaguars go on these little runs once things get going and get themselves to a point where over the next 2 weeks, if they win games, they could be 3-4, coming back home after 3-4. And I believe they get a bye after that. I'll check that real quick. But coming back after a 3-4 start, I think it's a very, very favorable schedule for them moving forward. And but if they lose, man, it is just, that is like something that you don't really want to think about. But you go right back to everybody talking about fire Doug Pederson. You absolutely do. You go back, and the fans don't want to do that, and we don't want to do that. I certainly don't want to do that here on Locked On Jaguars and try to get people to lose their job and all of that stuff. But I will tell you this. I will tell you this. There's a chance for the Jaguars. This could go either way. I was talking to one of my colleagues here on the Locked On. We were on a thread this morning, and one of the things that we were saying was this could turn around, or it could really turn around. No, they don't have a bye after. They do not have a bye. They come back home and they play the Packers. So that's a tough game, and that's even more. That's even more important. They go to 3-4. You come home, you have a chance to beat a good team, and this is where they are right now. They're in a situation, bro, where they're gonna have to prove themselves every single week. With every win, it's gonna buy them more time. It's not gonna buy everyone's belief in the team, but it's gonna buy them a little bit more time. You beat the Bears, then you don't fall asleep at the wheel again, and you beat the Patriots. Now you're 3-4. You come back home, and this place is going to be bonkers when they play the Green Bay Packers. And another quarterback that wants to throw the ball around, right? And when the Jaguars do better when they play teams that actually want to throw the ball around. And by then, maybe you have some of those guys back that you have some of those guys back that you're looking for. Then after that, they play the Eagles on the road in a night game. Then they got the Vikings, and then they got the Lions. So it's imperative that they at least get to 3-4, because they're 5 games. And this is what I want to really, really point out to you. Their 5 games are bananas after they come back from London. They got the Packers, the Eagles, the Vikings, the Lions. Wow. This is unbelievable. It is absolutely unbelievable. I'm going to go through this schedule. I'm going to read this schedule to you, because it's daunting if you think about them not getting these 2 games. If they get these 2 games and then they start getting on a roll, now all the rest of these games will be super, super competitive. We'll go over that and talk about why the seat has gotten cool for my man, Doug Pederson. We'll talk about that and more here on Locked On Jaguars.
Today's show is sponsored and brought to you by FanDuel. Man, FanDuel is the absolute truth. I'm going to just tell you flat out what they are. 4 words: America's #1 sportsbook. That's right. They are America's #1 sportsbook, and there's a lot of big returns for you this early season on FanDuel. First of all, now when you go to FanDuel and once you make your wagers and your bets, you don't have to leave that page to check stats or even watch play-by-play of the teams that you bet on. You can stay right there. You don't have to refresh your page. It's all right there for you. And the other thing is this: when you get started, you get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's right. You don't have to win. Just place your first $5 bet and you'll get $200 in bonus bets. So make sure you go to America's #1 sportsbook. That is FanDuel. Today's show is also sponsored and brought to you by Hillsdale College. Man, listen, you're never too old to learn, right? And I know sometimes learning can be costly. Well, listen, Hillsdale offers classes, our sponsor. They're offering more than 40 free, that's right, free, Free, online courses, including stuff like the rise and fall of the Roman Republic, the Great American Story, A Land of Hope. And one that's probably real relevant right now is called Constitution 101, the meaning and history of the Constitution. All you got to do, man, is go right now to hillsdale.edu/locked-on to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's Hillsdale, HILLSDALE.edu/locked-on to register. Hillsdale.edu/locked-on.
All right, third and final finale. The way that we're going to close this show is we're going to talk about how that hot seat got cool for Doug Pederson, at least, and Trent Baalke, at least, for just 1 week. And before we do that, as promised, I'm going to get into the schedule a little bit. Yeah, I was dead on. I was right when talking about the Jaguars schedule after they return back from London. The bye week is not until after the Sunday, November 17th. This is why they need to win these 2 games. If you win these 2 games, you get to 3-4. The next 5 games after that, I'm going to read them for you. Green Bay, tough. At Philly. That's at Philly, and it's an NBC game on Sunday night. Tough. The Jaguars laid an egg the last time they were on national TV, and they probably want to fix that. And Philly's probably a good team to fix it against, although they have some really, really good players, and by then the Jaguars will be healthy. Minnesota. That was a game that everybody thought we were going to win easily. Minnesota might come in here undefeated and looking like the number 1 seed in the NFC period. Then they play at Detroit. Then they have the bye week, and then they got Houston. Those are 5 really, really hard games. So let's just say the Jaguars go in those 5 games, the Jaguars go 3-2. And that's being super, super optimistic. But we're saying they're going to keep it rolling. They're going to continue to be competitive. They're going to get some injured players back. Let's just say they go 3-2, and at that point, they are 6-6. Is that 6-6? No. So if they're 3-4, and then they play the next 5, and they go 3, that would be 6-6. I don't know why my math is so screwed up there, because it's looking like 18 games here. No, there you go. They got 5 after that. So if they're 6-6 at that point, they would have to win out. Now listen to this. Last 5 games at the Titans, and the Jets here with that hot mess that they got going on, at Vegas, the Titans here, and then at the Colts. That's 10-6. That's how you get there. And I'm not saying that they got to go 3-2 after they come back from London. They could actually do better than that. And if they do better than that, then that's even better. They could be probably challenging for a division if they go on a run. But that's what we're looking at. So that's the blue sky. And I know the team isn't looking that far forward, but the seat is cool right now because we see a path. There's a path that with them playing 2 rookie quarterbacks, there's a path for them to get this thing turned around and get it right. And then the hope comes from the fact that guys will be returning back from injury. So let's just hold on to that. Doug Pederson, Trent Baalke, this is the path. They're going to take it 1 game at a time. They're going to take it 1 quarter at a time. They're going to take it 1 possession at a time. We don't have to do that here. We can talk about this wide open, just like we're doing now. But that is the path. The path is, of course, they're not going to win all of the rest of their games. They got 12 more games. They got 12 more games. I don't know what's wrong with my math today. They got 12 more games. They're going to go 12-0. They could, but I doubt it, right? But let's just say out of those 12 games, they go 10-2, or they go 9-3, or something like that, right? I think that adds up. 5 plus 12 is 17. Yeah. You go 9-3 and you're 10-6. So there it is. There's my optimism for today. Hopefully you guys can understand why I'm trying to give these guys the benefit of the doubt again. And I know a lot of fans don't do that, but I am doing it. Let's just leave optimism and hope up as something that could happen for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You guys need to check us out on Locked On NFL, a double dose of NFL talk on the NFL show with Tyler Rowland, the madman, going early in the morning, giving you a double shot of espresso with all the local experts that know the teams better than anybody. And then me in the barbershop, Tony Wiggins, just laid back, cool, like I always am in the middle of the day, using my group of experts also from around the Locked On Podcast Network to make sure that we give you the best coverage we can get. And you can find that on the Locked On NFL YouTube page or wherever you listen and get your podcast. All right, man. We'll have the crossover episode with Lauren Cox of Locked On Bears. We'll do that tomorrow. Until then, you guys take care. Be safe in this storm. And prayers for the people in Central Florida, in Tampa, and Southwest Florida. We're hoping for the best. And hopefully everyone can be as safe as possible. All right, we'll see you next time here on Locked On Jaguars.